connecting and then you're live and oh, look, it's live. Hey everyone, welcome to our midweek democracy-ish check-in with Danielle and me. And I was just telling Danielle, I'm a middle-aged man with decaying skin. I just got back from the dermatologist. I was just sharing my thoughts. And I went to dermatologist just, because like medical skin conditions and stuff. And they had me go across. They're like, oh, this is for the cosmetics. You want to go to the medical. And like I was looking around and everyone was like super hot and young. And I'm like, why are these people here? Oh, they're here for like fillers and collagen. Now I actually am an aging man who has like dry skin. So then Danielle was like, your skin is nice,
And
Watch.
I was
Don't
like,
worry.
was your skin looks fine. You're.
Yeah, brown don't crack. But we're here because the MAGA girls are fighting, folks, and there's a lot of news we have to talk about. I love it. There was this big news that came out in the New York Times a day ago where Elon Musk called Trump's policy bill, quote, a disgusting abomination,
Yeah.
and the heavens parted and gave us this fantastic tweet just from 20 minutes ago, Danny. I don't know if you saw it, where Elon Musk said, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. So now he's gone all out. This was from about 25 minutes ago. And as of right now, Howard Lutnick, the sociopathic billionaire, the Secretary of Commerce, got grilled not by a Democrat, but by Senator Foghorn Leghorn, Joe Kennedy from Louisiana, who asked him some pointed questions about this disastrous trade war and trade deal. And is like, all right, so well, if Vietnam is like going to be totally fair with us and go one on one, would that be okay? And then Lutnick's like, absolutely not. That would be the silliest thing ever. And then so even though Kennedy's expressed support, he was visibly frustrated. He goes, then what the hell are you negotiating trade deals for? You just said that if a country came to you and offered the ultimate reciprocity, no tariffs, no trade barriers, you would reject that? And Lutnick, the billionaire, is, if you will, floundering. And on top of that, Rand Paul, folks, Danielle,
Mm.
the world must be upside down because I listened, like I was watching TV. We talked about this at Democracy-ish, like during the initiation of this stupid trade war. I was like, who's that person on MSNBC? They're making a lot of sense, talking about how this is reckless and disastrous. And it was Rand Paul sitting next to Senator Tim Kaine. And I'm like, huh. And then it was Rand Paul yesterday, I think a couple of days ago, who was making a lot of sense about how this disastrous billionaire bill will blow up the deficit. So I give you all that, Danielle. Is it safe to say the girls are fighting?
The girls are fighting, and a wise man, friend of mine, Pakistani, said that white supremacy will eat itself. It will destroy itself. And what I think is really funny here is that so Elon Musk is in the White House running Doge for 130 days. The 130-day time, he destroys USAID, ensures that hundreds of thousands of the poorest people in the world will absolutely die so that he can have more Starlink contracts and more Tesla contracts with the federal government. And where are they going to get the money to do those contracts? Well, they have to end programs that are going to feed the poor and feed the most vulnerable and help with sickness and illness. And he doesn't care about that.
No.
And so it leads me to wonder, why does he care about this? Like, what is it about this bill? Like, now we all know that this bill is filled with some of the most horrible fucking things we've ever seen. It is gutting SNAP. It is gutting Medicaid. It is gutting EPA. It is gutting NPR. It is just
No regulation on AI for 10 years.
no regulation on AI for 10 years. In 5 minutes, AI unregulated can cause like the end of days, right? So you look at all of these things, and we know that they named it what they named it, which I refer to as the big bullshit bill, because,
Yeah.
they made it this beautiful name to mock, right? Like to mock America, to mock Americans. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, why is Elon Musk so upset about this bill?
Why,
And
Daniel?
and like, why does he care so much? Is it because the money that's being cut isn't going directly into his pockets the way that, he was in control of Doge? I honestly, maybe why he's so upset about it, because I really don't. Because he does not give a fuck about America. He only cares about himself, right? He only cares about the ways in which you can slash and cut programs in order to feed the insatiable greed of the rich. So I don't know, but what I do know is that he spent $290 million to buy himself a presidency. And regardless of what it is that he says, he knows that Donald Trump is not going to bite the hand that feeds him. Donald
Yeah.
Trump may be getting luxury palaces in the sky from Qatar and from other places, but at the end of the day, the only one that has been willing to continually bankroll him is Elon Musk. So is Elon overplaying his hand right now and saying, I own you, so do what I say? Right? And is Donald Trump gonna be like, okay, boss, whatever you say, boss, just keep the money flowing, boss?
It's going to be interesting because Elon Musk has gone all in. He called it the abomination. He talked about it blowing up the deficit. And by the way, yep, it
Oh,
is
he
going to blow
did
up
it
the
too.
deficit. Right? It's going to be about $3 trillion, and it's the greatest wealth transfer in American history. Let's just call it what it is. It's going to be
Fair.
theft, literally stealing from our Social Security, from our benefits, from our Medicaid, and giving it to the richest people on earth for tax cuts, the tax cuts for the 1%, right? And essentially going to gut our public health infrastructure, going to kill so many people. And Joni Ernst, of course, who's up for reelection, and the senator from Iowa said, well, we all gotta die. No, we're gonna die. Not her, not Elon Musk. I think the reason why he's doing it is because he hasn't. See, when people say, "Oh, he's gone," Elon Musk is gone. No, yeah, he had that whole pomp and circumstance, and he quasi left last Friday. But like you said, Danielle, this is a man who bought the presidency for $300 million, and this is a man who, according to internal reporting, is a little bit miffed that there are MAGA Trumpers within the administration who don't respect him, who mock him, who are leaking stories. He's really upset that Donald Trump doesn't give him the favor or the ear that he used to in the first 100 days, right? He doesn't like the fact that Elon Musk is not consolidating AI, right? They're going to Altman and OpenAI and others, right? So he's a little pissed off that he's no longer the favored mistress, or not even really the favored mistress, the number one wife. And he's like, yo, 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 I give you $300 million. Without me, you wouldn't be president. That's according to Steve Bannon. And I did so much work, and I feel like his bruised, brittle ego. This is his bruised, brittle ego retaliating, kind of warning Donald Trump that I'm also here, I'm also in charge. And the fact that he left and left kind of on negative terms, even though he didn't really leave, is him kind of, I think, trying to exercise his power. These are all petty, vindictive, insecure mother effort. Small. And I think he's trying to show, like, okay, I see where the wind is heading here. Maybe I can go become a populist again, and maybe I can rally with the people, and maybe I could tell him that this bill will bankrupt America. It's going to take away from all the great things I did at Doge. He didn't do shit. He just destroyed these agencies, like Danielle was saying, like USAID, which has led to the death of 300,000 kids. And so I think this is kind of a little girl fight and also an ego fight right now. That's what's happening. That's my take.
And it's funny because here's the thing about Elon Musk. I don't know why he would think that Donald Trump would be loyal to him, that there was a certain amount of money that he could spend, that Donald Trump then would choose him above all else. Donald Trump doesn't even he's not even loyal to his own fucking kids. Do you know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? Like, there is no one that has been in business with Donald Trump, or nobody that has been involved with Donald. Just ask one of his myriad of ex-wives, right? Like, how they have been treated. One of them is in a golf course, right? Like, in the ground. Like, that's where he buried her, right? So, like, the fact is that these people have this, they have this need, I guess what it is, this need to be loved, right? This need to be wanted. And Elon Musk, instead of going to therapy, decided to buy Twitter and take, out all of his unworked issues, unhealed child wounds, like, out on the rest of us. The same thing with Donald Trump. And so I look at them and I'm saying to myself, this isn't a warning shot, I don't think, Waj. This is not a warning shot. This is Donald Trump's major piece of legislation. This is the bill. Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This is the bill that will forever change how this country operates and moves forward, right? Forward, like we've already said, that the things that Donald Trump and this regime have done have set America back for generations,
Yep.
right? Like we're never going to to see the return of the America that we knew, right? We're not going to see that in our lifetimes. And so you look at this bill, and this is Donald Trump's and this regime's main project. Everything else that they're doing, if you really think about it, outside of the hit job that Doge did, is really just window dressing of their
Yep.
white nationalism.
Yep.
This is the thing that will change. So for him to go on social media to tell his legions of incel babies, right? To call your members to vote against this bill, right? Like that's major. That to me is not just a shot above the bow.
Yeah,
That is
that's
like I'm going for the jugular here.
and people who are just joining us right now, we're talking about, I mean, there was that New York Times article about Elon Musk, and, since over the weekend, actually this week, excuse me, going against the bill, the bullshit bill, the billionaire bill, the MAGA murder bill, the big, beautiful bill. But today, just like, yeah, it seems like in the last hour, Elon Musk, the world's richest man who gave $300 million to Donald Trump, said, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. So now we have literally Kill Bill. Like it's on right now. And I'm very curious, because we talked about this, Danielle. Eventually, we said, and anyone who's been following Donald Trump, as you mentioned, said he turns on everyone. This relationship wasn't going to last, right? And who would MAGA go for? Would they go for the money or for Trump? And it seems like they're going to go for Donald Trump because so far he is the mob boss. But the people who are kind of running the show also are the oligarchy, right? The Elon Musks, the Peter Thiels, and JD Vance is hand delivered to Donald Trump vis-a-vis Peter Thiel. He is groomed by the oligarchy, right? JD Vance is their guy. So now we're seeing a really interesting split, right? And I'm very curious where this goes. Because we'll kill the bill, give enough of those Republicans who realize, oh shit, they're onto our plan. They realize we're going after Medicaid. Oh no, Joni Ernst kind of took off the hood and the mask. Oh wait, Donald Trump saying, yeah, girls don't need more than $2. Oh no, the fact that consumer confidence has shrunk. Oh no, tourism has gone down. Oh no, there's measles. Oh no, Medicaid is very popular. Oh no, our lying isn't working. Is that going to give it like 4 or 5 Republican senators enough confidence to speak out, right? Because there's always Collins and Murkowski. I have zero faith in any of them. But now you're seeing Rand Paul, and Rand Paul is going all out. Yesterday, he's like, "Sorry, can't do it. I'm a deficit hawk, and I can't add $5 trillion." And Massey of the House has said the same. And as a result, now Donald Trump is going after Rand Paul. So, do you think Elon Musk is, if you will, giving cover to Republicans, and also Republicans will use him, and for all I care about is weaken them, let them fight, let this fail. This bill has to fail. But your take on this?
I honestly, I think that Elon Musk is giving them cover. I think that, him coming out and saying, because also, let's just be clear, Elon Musk doesn't just fund Donald Trump, he funds all of them, right?
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. He put money all over the place. He's like, imagine like a serial gambler, right? Like he put money all across the table to see who can give him the greatest returns on his investment, right? And so right now, I think that yes, I think that he is providing them cover. I think that I still don't believe though that it is enough. I don't know if it is going to be enough for several Republican senators to side with Democrats and say, you know what, we're not going to do this. Because look, Joni Ernst's town hall showed us exactly, again, for those people who are waiting for the compassionate conservative to return, for those people that say, oh, just wait, people aren't going to keep them in office. She's up, this senator in Idaho, up for reelection in 2026. Her constituents at her town hall said, this bill is going to kill people. by kicking off 8.6 million people off of Medicaid, Iowa, excuse me, that kicking off 8.6 million people off of Medicaid is going to result in people dying from and she said, well, we're all gonna die. So let me also tell you about the tooth fairy. And if you guys think that I am lying, you can go back and watch Monday's Democracy Ish on my YouTube channel, where I played the clip of Joni Ernst responding to her constituents while walking through a cemetery to tell them that everybody dies. And oh, I'm glad I didn't have to bring up the tooth fairy as well. She does not care. And the Republican Party as a whole, does not care. And so, do I think that Elon Musk is enough? Maybe he needs to go and spread more money around and tell and buy them the way that he bought Donald Trump, and say, look, this bill got to fail. How much do I got to throw out to at least 10 Republican senators to get you to side with the American people? Oh, you'll get some goodwill, but I'll also give you a couple of million on the side. This is where we are in this country. And frankly, the American people, we don't have that kind of money. If all of us were to give $1 to Donald Trump, it still doesn't match the palace in the sky, and it doesn't match what Elon Musk can do on a regular basis. So who are they going to listen to?
I am all for this fight. I don't know how this will end. Politico earlier today reported that this fight is brewing. It's Musk versus the GOP leaders. Mike Johnson reiterated, well, I disagree with him, but nonetheless, we're going to stand strong. And then Senator Thune said, at the end of the day, we will have the votes to get it done. But I don't know, Daniel. The more this is in the news and the more that Elon Musk, of all people, says kill the bill, and he has a large sway over MAGA, right? It might, folks. Like, look, I know we're cynics, and I know it's like, it's everything's over, and Republicans at the end of the day are going to be evil. But I want to remind you that Democrats who are just useless, and we'll get to the Democrats in a second. When a few Democrats put Abrego Kilmar Garcia in the news and was forced to be in the news for 2 weeks, and the Republican administration was forced to answer questions, like there were reporters actually asking follow-ups. What happened? Within 2 weeks, Abrego Kilmar Garcia has become an albatross around the neck of Donald Trump. He's negative 19 points on Abrego Kilmar Garcia, right? And Americans are outraged. They're like, wait, we didn't sign up for this. And I think as more and more people realize what's in the bill, and more people realize, oh, Medicaid cuts, SNAP cuts, oh, what? No regulation for AI? What? Private prisons? Are you just gonna just go like haywire and pretty much get so much of our money and we're just going to incarcerate all these people? Wait, what? Is going to blow up the deficit by how much? And oh, wait, there's a wealth transfer, and the poor are going to pay more taxes and the rich are going to pay less taxes. I think as more and more people find out about what's in this bill, and there's more dissension and cracks coming from different messengers, and especially when you have Elon Musk in the last hour saying, kill the bill. I'm hoping, Daniel, right? Like maybe a Rand Paul, maybe a Collins, a Murkowski, and maybe they could get maybe two other folks, and maybe that's enough to kill it. I mean, again, this is me saying, inshallah, please God. But the fact that they're fighting, and the fact that Senator Kennedy, Foghorn Leghorn, right, a very wealthy, highly educated elitist who tries to play dumb, he ain't dumb. If you saw his grilling with Howard Lutnick, the sociopathic billionaire, even he's asking, like, what's the end game of trade war? If you have full reciprocity with Vietnam, what the F? Because he's not stupid, Danielle. These people realize this is bad for business. And if it's bad for business, it's bad for their corporate donors. And the one color that still trumps the color white is the color green. So maybe, just maybe, Danielle,
Mm.
the saving light for us will be their greed, their incompetence, and their petty infighting. I don't know. I can only say inshallah.
I mean, it like we are living in the inshallah times, are we not? Like that is that is where we are. But look, I don't want us to bet everything on this bill collapsing, because what I fear is that just what will come in its place will, because they put up the absolute worst, will be like, oh, okay, well, this one isn't as bad as the other one, but it's still devastating to the poor, to the most vulnerable, to the disabled. Like, it's still a devastating bill because we have been, um, put in this place where we accept like not so bad, not so terrible, right?
Yeah.
As if that is good, and it's not, right? Like, so they have trained us into, it's like when you shock people over and over again with the highest voltage, and then you shock them just a little bit, and you're just like, well, that's not bad. You're still being fucking electrocuted, like
Things are
that,
better
like
now.
that's right. But I guess, my arm is numb, so I don't feel it as much, right? Like, that's kind of the place that we're in. And so I don't want us to be lulled
No.
into a false sense of like, oh, this is the moment, this is the crack. I think in order for this regime to be toppled, we are going to need a series
Yep.
of cracks over and over and over and over again over the course of years in order for it to shatter.
Absolutely. I'm here for any sand that could be thrown in the gears of fascism. I'm here for it. So I have no delusions of grandeur that they will somehow cease in their supervillain plot, right? But if we can even get more people aware, Danielle, I do think there will be, they'll get this passed. They have the House, they have the Senate. So they'll get, like you said, some version of evil passed. Let's just call it for what it is. It's just purely evil, corrupt, greedy, right? But at the very least, if we can stymie it, if we can make it a little less worse, or we can make them face a cost. And the cost can be faced in these elections because more people need to know. And as more people know, they're like, holy crap, you're taking my Medicaid? Wait, Joni Ernst wants me to die? What Donald Trump said, my daughter can only have $2? This is not popular. And they're already underwater. Donald Trump is underwater across the board. And, I want to give you some good news. I don't know if you saw this. I want to highlight some good news in a rural district in Lindsey Graham State, South Carolina, folks. Yesterday, Keyshawn Scott, a young black man, became the youngest representative. Right, he's the representative of a rural district 50, and he secured a 41 point lead against his Republican opponent, William Odin. All right, Kamala won that by like 5. He won it by 41 in South Carolina. This young dude, I want to get his age. 24-year-old Democrat pulled off a landslide win literally in Lindsey Graham's backyard. Danielle, some
Mhm.
good news, right? The more and more people find out about this,
Look, here's the thing. We have often said that things in this country are going to, and I have said definitely that things in this country are going to have to get bloodier before they get better. I think that Americans, right, we've said, need to face collective pain in order for them to recognize that all of our fates are intertwined, right? That
mm,
if you do well, then I do well, right? That it doesn't have to be this either or scarcity proposition that we have been conditioned to believe is the reality of capitalism. Somebody always has to be on the bottom. And I think that what people are seeing right now and what that election shows is that, you know what? There are people with better ideas that
yep,
I don't have to just swallow the incremental, status quo that I have been given. That these people that have been in power, how long has Lindsey Graham been in the fucking Senate? Right?
forever,
Like, forever and a day. And guess what? Nothing has changed for you. So I think that these young people, and predominantly it is young people of color that are running for office, that are raising their voices, and they're saying, look, you have put your vote behind these old white men and old white women for how long? Tell me how your life is better. Just tell me. That's the just tell me, what is it about your life that is better right now? And many of them are starting to see firsthand how their lives are actually getting worse. And there is no Biden to blame for this. That you're looking at your 401k and it doesn't look the same way that it did 5 months ago. It doesn't, your kid's school has less teachers now. We had just saw did you see this? The weather report that went viral of the meteorologist who has said that yeah,
he interrupted his segment, right?
he's like, I'm not going to be able to predict accurately hurricanes anymore, which means that you're not going to be able to have enough time to leave your homes to get what is necessary in order to be in safety because they've cut Noah, right? Millions and millions of dollars. And so you think to yourself, I don't know what Noah is. That doesn't matter. Well, it matters when you get a fucking breaking news report that tells you that the hurricane is coming this way and you have this amount of hours or days in order to be able to leave your home or get what is needed. And now, basically, MAGA has said, your life is a gamble. And Joni Ernst finished it off with, well, we all die. Right? So I feel like the collective pain is beginning to, congeal, and that
Slowly.
people are, and slowly, and people are looking around and they're saying, you know what? I bought into it for the racism, but my God, this is really starting to hurt me. And if that's what it takes, then I'm like, I'm all for it because not everybody's job is going to be protected. And that's what these members need to, and frankly, not everybody's lives are going to be protected. You keep fucking around with all these people who you've been, raising up the Second Amendment for and saying, like, my gun, my choice, whatever. And you start taking from these people, you create and manufacture desperation.
Mm.
The worst that losing your job is not the worst that can happen.
Yeah, losing your life. And folks, another piece of big news, especially as Daniel brought up this meteorologist, and I think Yvette
What's
said
this?
that,
John Morales.
yeah, from Miami.
Thank you, Yvette.
Folks, another big piece of news that came out a day and a half ago, it's already forgotten. Our acting FEMA chief,
Oh
David
Lord.
Richardson, uh, told his staff that he doesn't know about United States having a hurricane season. The FEMA staff was so shocked by this that they leaked it. They're like, "Excuse me," because they're like, "Oh, what are our plans for hurricane season?" And David Richardson, who was completely unqualified, but a Trump toady, who is now the head of FEMA, said, "Hurricane season? Oh, America has a hurricane season." That is the chief of FEMA. And we had Josh Hawley 2 weeks ago, if you recall, begging Kristi Noem for FEMA aid for his red state, right? Can we please have FEMA aid? So they're withholding FEMA aid, right? They're gutting government agencies. The world's worst people are in charge, right? Complete morons and idiots. They're going after our public health infrastructure. They're gutting NOAA. They're gutting the National Institute of Health. You got Elon Musk with his Doe chainsaw. You got Palantir gobbling up all of our friggin' information data, creating a surveillance state. You got them in a trade war where there's no end to the trade war, just trade war for the sake of trade war because Donald Trump doesn't understand how tariffs work. The economy's tanking, life expectancy is tanking, and Joni Ernst is saying, well, we all are going to die. And now you got Elon Musk saying, kill the bill. The girls are fighting, but as they're fighting, we are going to die. And I want to bring up another news story because you mentioned it, the white supremacy, the racism, the cruelty, the anti-woman, the anti-LGBTQ is, let's be honest, a reason why a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. During this month of Pride, let's remind people that Elon Musk gave Donald Trump $300 million, and the Republican Party spent over $200 million, $250 million on anti-transgender ads and talking points,
Yep.
which, upon the audit of the 2024 election, we know actually had a significant impact in moving and shifting some people to Donald Trump and MAGA. I know some Democratic voters in the suburbs. I know some religious communities that went for it, right? Gender and LGBTQ. Oh, they're going to make my son gay, right? And to show the cruelty, the white supremacist agenda, in addition to the agenda of greed and capitalism. Danielle, this news came out yesterday. I'm glad it's still in the news, is that during Pride Month, military.com had this piece where our Secretary of Defense, a
Yep.
friggin' DUI hire, Pete Hegseth, has ordered the Navy to strip the name of Harvey Milk from
Yep.
ships. And also they're looking at stripping the name of Harriet Tubman. And if you've noticed, all the names that are being stripped, everyone who's being canceled, they all happen to be black people, women, brown people, Asian people, Native Americans, and LGBTQ. And they're thinking about replacing their names with Confederate traitors. I think it's economic anxiety, Daniel.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and this is, look, I saw that news yesterday, and I just want people to understand because everybody keeps asking, what can I do in this moment? What can I do? What can I do? Right? I feel helpless. I feel hopeless. What can I do? You can educate yourself. At a time when history is being erased, when books are being burned, when
Mm,
curriculum is being gutted, when teachers are being sued, when libraries are going bankrupt, you can make your education of this country and our excellence across the board, Black excellence, queer excellence, women, Indigenous people, you can make it a priority to not only learn about the truth about America and those that have spent their lives fighting for it to be better and honored, and spread that message. Because you know what? They can erase the ship, but it is going to be us up to the rest of us to ensure that Harvey Milk, whose name, by the way, is also in a terminal at San Francisco airport,
yep,
is also on a high school here in New York, that
yep.
what he did and what his life meant
Hmm.
mattered to queer people, right? And frankly, to everyone, because he was like an extraordinary fighter. And so we can continue like what I don't want to do. And what Toni Morrison said is that racism is a distraction.
Right.
All of this is a fucking distraction. While they are going to rename ships and change curriculum, guess what they're doing? Taking away your Medicaid, making sure that the poor stay poor and the sick get sicker, making sure that like we're breathing in toxins and that the ultra rich get to put as many unregulated chemicals into our food, into our air, and all of the. That's what they are doing. So they use these things, these cudgels, these cultural cudgels, as a way to shift our focus and distract us from the shit that is happening, that they are doing. So if we're upset about Harry, which is upsetting, I'm not saying that it's not upsetting, but the fact of the matter is that 8.6 million people losing Medicaid, poor children losing Head Start and SNAP, right? Us not knowing what the fuck is in our water and in our food, that matters more. We have to have like an understanding about the game of distraction around racism, homophobia, transphobia that is happening right now to keep us separated from one another rather than unifying around the ultimate force that is trying to devastate the 99%.
It's the culture war. It's the Southern strategy on steroids. They've done this all throughout since the end of segregation, right? Divide and conquer amongst people of color, right? To keep them from realizing that it's the 1% that's taken all their cookies. It's Rupert Murdoch taking all the cookies, Elon Musk taking all the cookies, Peter Thiel taking all the cookies, the crypto bros who gave Donald Trump millions of dollars. They're the one taking all of your cookies and your Medicaid and your SNAP and your food supplements. So fight amongst each other. Pronouns, Latinx,
Yep,
transgender,
yep.
Harriet Tubman. And what they're doing with their white supremacist agenda is erasing the rest of us, but also erasing the rest of you, folks. Literally, you will die. You are going to die. The life expectancy of Americans has gone down 3 years, all right, compared to industrialized nations, right? Measles is skyrocketing in America. Our tourism has dropped. Consumer confidence in our economy has dropped. Our credit rating, Moody has downgraded it. We're becoming more isolated. As hurricane season comes, and it will, and there's no FEMA and there's no regulations, what's going to happen? Death. They're saying with climate change, the next 5 years are going to be some of the hottest on Earth, already some of the hottest we've experienced. This administration doesn't believe in climate change, right? And if AI has no regulation, because that's, for those who are joining us a bit late, we're going to publish this later today. A part of this big, beautiful bill, bullshit bill, in addition to cuts to Medicaid and healthcare and SNAP, no regulation of AI, and also all this money to the military industrial complex and private prisons, right? So we're going to be working without benefits. We're going to be working longer without vacations. We're not going to have healthcare, so we're going to be sicker. And then once we, get sick, they're going to take us out back like horses and kill us. And if it's up to Curtis Yarvin, the fringe lunatic philosopher who influences J.D. Vance and Elon Musk, the non-valuable people will be turned to biodiesel. His words, not mine. So it's like the Matrix and Soylent Green, folks. That's the end game. So this is why it's so important, I think, for people to be informed, for this young black man who's 24 years old in Kentucky to run for office. You never know. He won by 40 points, folks. 40 points in Wisconsin when Elon Musk gave $20 million to the Supreme Court race to tilt it. The liberal judge won by double digits.
Yep.
Elon Musk, the reason why he temporarily stepped away is because of grassroots movements both here and abroad against Tesla. The Tesla takedowns tanked the stock. Danielle, some good news that came out, I think yesterday or maybe 2 days ago in Wall Street Journal, is that these friggin' pathetic law firms that bent the knee, voluntarily
Losing
bent the knee.
business.
Tell them. That's the best
Oh
news.
God, it's just so good. The karma's so good. So all of these law firms, I think there were what, 11 of them or so that bent the knee to Donald Trump, that gave him essentially $1 billion collectively of free labor. If they drop their cases or stop prosecuting or stop representing undocumented people, Democrats, etc. So they all say, "Great, we'll do your bidding. Don't worry. You'll scratch our back, we scratch yours." And guess what? Their clients, their high-end clients like Oracle, like Microsoft, and others are dropping those law firms and do not want to work with them. Even the ones, right, who are also Republicans don't want to, because guess what? They no longer feel safe.
It's
Because if
become
you're not,
toxic.
yeah, because if you're not going to stand up to Donald Trump and Donald Trump decides tomorrow that, guess what, I'm going after Microsoft, guess what this law firm just announced to the world? We will serve you up on a platter in order
Yep.
to save our own ass. And no one wants to be represented by a fucking weasel. And that's what these law firms have shown themselves to be, weasels that can't be trusted. And so now they're losing business.
And it's only been 4 months. Look at what they make you give. Imagine if he had just stood firm. You're a lawyer. You knew what he was doing was illegal. And, you sued him like some other law firms. You actually fought. But instead, Paul Weiss and others, they voluntarily bent the knee. And look at what they make you give. Was it worth it? Nope. This is what you wore that hat, you keep wearing that hat. You stay right there. You corporate law firms stay right there. We know exactly what side of the aisle you're on. That's a decision you made, and I'm so glad you're now being publicly shamed and that these corporations, who by the way, don't give a shit about anything, but they
No.
realize it's hurting my reputation to be associated with you, so I'm going to back away. I love it. And that's the power of public outrage, of mockery,
Yes.
of people being informed, of people, raising the alarm, of attorneys speaking out, of attorneys leaving the firm, folks. Do not underestimate your power. And there's two more news items I want to talk about with 7 minutes we have left because Danielle has to leave. This is the one that,
To prepare for another live show.
yeah, because Danielle is just lazy as F. She's like, God, she has like 14 shows. This warmed my heart, this story. It came out in The Guardian today. Miss Rachel, for those who don't know, Miss Rachel is a beloved YouTube personality. She creates these videos for kids. She's all about pro kids, pro learning. A religious white woman, anodyne, harmless videos that like literally parents around the world love. She has gone so much flack from the pro-right Israeli lobby because, folks, she says that she uses her platform to advocate for children's safety, including, wait for it, Palestinian children's safety. So all of a sudden, in the past month, all these hit pieces have come after her, and all these interest groups have called her an anti-Semite. Yes, frigging Miss Rachel. And today, The Guardian came out with a piece, and I just shared it. She says she will risk her career to advocate for Palestinian children in Gaza. Your take on this,
You
Danielle?
know, I tell you, as much as fear is contagious, so is courage. And we have to look at these people who are saying, you know what? Enough is enough. You cannot scroll past emaciated children. You cannot scroll past, right? The bombing of all hospital, the turning away of all aid. You cannot look past, right? The fact that Netanyahu said, oh, yeah, I'll sign a ceasefire deal in order to herd these people back into an area so that I can obliterate them once and for all and think that that is okay. Enough is a fucking enough. And
Mm.
for Miss Rachel to say that, for Greta Thunberg and others to be on a ship right now trying to bring awareness and aid to the shores of Gaza, enough is a fucking enough, right? And at some point, humanity actually has to win out. At some point, you have to say that if my safety, my quote unquote safety, is based on, right, somebody else's oppression, then I'm never going to be safe. And that
Nope.
safety is a fucking illusion. So thank God for Miss Rachel. Thank God for Greta and others.
Yep.
Thank God for the people that are speaking out, that are losing their jobs, that are also utilizing their positions of power and their platforms to say, you know what? It should not be a crime to say that children don't deserve to die. It should not be a crime that people should be able to live with dignity and respect. It should not be about whether or not one is safe and the other is not. Because again, if your safety is contingent on somebody else's oppression, you will never be safe. Period.
Amen. And God bless all these valedictorians and college graduation speakers at NYU, Columbia, and MIT who are now being punished. And folks, go check it out. What's happening to these speakers in MIT and NYU? They're being punished. Why? Because they use their 3 to 4 minutes to speak out against genocide. This is what we're dealing with, folks. And so they can't shut us all up. And if you see these videos, guess what? They've lost the kids. All the kids are applauding. When all these speakers spoke out against Israel's genocide, when all these people spoke out against occupation, when they spoke out against apartheid, when they spoke out for a ceasefire, essentially the majority of these students are applauding. How can you silence an entire generation? You can't, folks. You can't. So we need a chorus and we need to uplift these people like Miss Rachel and all these kids, especially these kids and pro-Palestinian activists who are being literally kidnapped in broad daylight by this fascist regime. At the end of the day, we want an end to genocide, an end to hate, an end to anti-Semitism, an end to Islamophobia. But none of that will happen if these war criminals continue their genocidal campaign in Gaza. Final story with the 2 minutes we have left. It's some breaking news that Karine, and we know Karine Jean-Pierre, who during the Biden administration was the White House press secretary, it was just announced that she has gone independent. She has left the Democratic Party, has gone independent, and she has a new book coming out called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines, which promises a detailed recounting of, quote, the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. And Politico kind of has a quasi hit piece up where like 7 former colleagues are saying, she's just doing it for the money, it's a grift, like they're throwing her under the bus. But your take on this?
Look, I too am grappling with my party affiliation, have been a longtime Democrat, don't understand what Democrats are actually doing. Corinne was inside of the White House. We knew her before. And the fact is that look, after all she saw, after all she went through, both internally and externally, yeah, I think that she has a story to tell. And if that story is to say that I've now gone independent, that I am now going to speak out and talk about what happened, right? Then why not? Everybody else has gotten a fucking book, right? Like I'm just so curious. Like, where were the fucking hit pieces on Bob Woodward? Right? For sitting on all that he knew about Donald Trump and waiting until, it was halfway through the first administration to then publish so that he could sell as many books as possible. Miss me with the bullshit that when it is a Black woman or when it is a person of color that decides to do the same things, right? That all of a sudden we have to be all up in arms about it, right? Like, her affiliation is her fucking choice. So, and if she has a story to tell as the press secretary, as the face of that administration that literally walked into the line of fire every single day for 4 years, then you know what? She has a story to tell. And if people want to listen to it, they should. Because fucking Jake Tapper is out there tap dancing all around, talking about all the which ways in which Biden is a disappointment and who knew about Biden. That's not Corinne's story. That's not what she's doing. So where are the hit pieces on Tapper?
You know what? When the book comes out, hopefully Corinne will join us on Democracy Ish and talk
Yes,
to us
we're
about it.
putting out an ask, Corinne.
Yeah, well, we'll do an ask. We'll reach out to her. I knew I just had to press play on Danielle today, and it was like me just being a jukebox DJ, and Danielle would just deliver the hits. I was like, I know how to get her going, and she delivered. Folks, we'll be back next Wednesday for our midweek check-in, and Danielle will finally finish watching Andor season two.
Yes.
We know you enjoyed our dissection of Andor season one, so next week will be Andor season two, and we will be back Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time for Democracy Ish, which is on Danielle Moody's YouTube channel. We're trying to get her to 25,000. She's almost there. And folks, if you haven't subscribed to Damn Digest, please subscribe, and to the Left Hook Substack. We are fools. Everything's for free, no paywalls. You pay what you can. If you can become a paid subscriber, please do. I have kids. Danielle needs her coffee. And now Danielle is off to run to do her fourth show of the day.
Yes,
Uh,
the Danielle Moody Show, live at 5 o'clock.
And we're going to have the full, for those who joined us late, we're going to have this up in an hour or two. And then I also have these really two good talks in. I'm not just saying because I did it, but breaking down the danger of Palantir, Peter Thiel, and the surveillance state, the $800 million that the Trump administration gave to Palantir, this data security firm. And also, I talked to Stephen Beschloss of the America stack to talk about how this new modern Republican Party is basically the age-old cruelty on steroids, and now they're revealing their true racist ass selves. So that's going to be out in the next hour. Good, but now go over to YouTube and watch Danielle's fourth show of the day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Waj. Talk soon.
Bye.